Hello viewers, I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stand before you with a topic Environmental Pollution Act 1986, and this topic is found in the Environmental Studies paper of plus 3 first semester, and this paper is common for plus 3 first semester arts, commerce and science students. And today's topic is Environmental Act 1986, and so far as this Environmental Act 1986 is concerned, we'll discuss mainly two aspects of it. One is the meaning of Environmental Act 1986 and main provisions of the act. And this video is in Odia form and English form. Any video in my channel which is in Odia form, be sure that its English form is also available, and any video which is in English form, be sure that its Odia version is available. And I want to inform my viewers that in my channel, plus 2 first year to plus 2 second year political science, plus 3 first semester to 5th semester political science, including environmental studies, are available. So I request my viewers, if you have not subscribed my channel, subscribe so that you will get the benefit, and request your friends, those who are in above classes, to subscribe so that at least some students will be benefited. And a single help to anybody, be sure that the help will come back to you. Let us start. Environmental Act 1986. So far as Environmental Act 1986 is concerned, we will discuss mainly two aspects of it. One is the meaning of Environmental Act 1986. Number two, provisions of this act. Let us start. Meaning of Environmental Act 1986. What it means? Environment and living objects have very close relationship. If environment is favorable, living objects are safe. If environment is unfavorable, there is every chance of the extinction of living objects. So environment is very much important. So to protect it, on 5th June to 16th June 1972, a conference was held in Stockholm in Sweden. And in this conference, all participants nations were requested to take measures for protection of environment. So in India, in 1986, Environment Protection Act was passed. So environment and living objects have close relationship. If environment will be favorable, living objects will be safe. If environment will not be favorable, or if environment will be unfavorable, there is every chance of the extinction of living objects. So environment is very important. So for the protection of world environment, a conference was held in Stockholm in Sweden from 5th June to 16th June. And in this conference, all the participant nations were requested to take measures in their respective level for the protection of environment. So in India, in 1986, Environmental Act has been passed. Now we'll discuss what is the meaning of Environment Act 1986. It is an act by which steps have been taken in India for the environmental protection. Environment Act 1986 is an act by which steps have been taken in India for the protection of environment. It is the first general act relating to the protection of environment. It is the general environmental act. Because prior to it, there were specific laws relating to environmental protection like Air Pollution Act, Water Pollution Act, Sound Pollution Act. So, Environmental Act 1986 means it is an act by which steps have been taken for the protection of environment. And Environment Act 1986 is the first environmental law in general, because prior to it there were specific laws relating to protection of environment like Air Pollution Act, Water Pollution Act, Sound Pollution Act. But Environment Act 1986 is an act in general for the protection of environment. And there are some specialities of this act. It is the first general law relating to the environmental protection. The first speciality of the Environmental Act 1986 is that it is the first general law relating to environmental protection. Number 2, it stresses for the cooperation of states to work for environmental protection. It says for the cooperation of states for the protection of environment. It says that protection of environment must be made by the efforts of all states. It is not the responsibility of a single state. So, cooperation of all states must be necessary for the protection of environment. Number 3, it is the first law relating to control and handle hazardous chemicals and raw materials relating to it. It is the first law which relates with the control of hazardous chemicals and raw materials relating to it. It is the first law which speaks how hazardous chemicals will be controlled and raw materials relating to hazardous materials will be dealt with. So we are clear about the meaning of Environmental Act 1986, main specialities of this act. Now discuss main provisions of this act. We will discuss as many as 7 main provisions of this act. Number 1, an important provision of this act is that a coordination committee will be formed by taking members of states to fight against environmental problem. In this act, it is clearly mentioned that protection of environment must not be the responsibility of only one state or a few states. So, for the protection of environment, a coordination committee of members of states must be formed to work for the protection of environment. Number 2, an effort must be made to maintain level of pollutants in environment. Another provision of this act that an effort must be made, a step must be made to maintain level of pollutants in the environment. Number 3, an effort must be made to watch emission of pollutants from factories and vehicles. There is provision of punishments for emission of pollutants by factories and vehicles, including cutting of electricity and cutting of water connection. So, another provision of this act is that an effort must be made to watch emission of pollutants from factories and vehicles. If any factory or vehicle will emit more pollutants, then it will be held responsible, and there is provision of punishments. If there is provision of punishments for any factory or vehicle which will emit more pollutant to the atmosphere. Now 4, it is stressed to prepare nationwide plan to control environmental pollution. Another provision of this act is that to control environmental pollution, a nationwide planning must be made. Otherwise, environmental pollution cannot be checked. Now, fifth, it is mentioned that to take steps to control those accidents which are harmful for environmental pollution. It is mentioned in the Act that steps must be taken to control those accidents which will lead to environmental pollution. 6. It is mentioned in the Act to take steps to handle poisonous chemicals and materials relating to it. It is mentioned in the Act that steps must be taken to handle poisonous chemicals and raw materials associated with it. It is mentioned in that to take steps to handle poisonous chemicals and raw materials associated with it. Then seventh one, it is mentioned in that to make regular inspection of factories and aware officials to take safety measures to control pollution in factories. It is mentioned in that regular inspections must be made to factories and aware officials of the factories the safety measures to control pollution in factories. It is mentioned in the Act that regular inspections should be made to factories and aware officials to take safety measures. How? Pollution will not be made in the factory. Then, 8.1. It is mentioned in that for the public awareness, impacts of environmental pollution must be circulated. It is mentioned in the Act that for public awareness, impacts of environmental pollution must be circulated. It is mentioned in the Act that steps must be taken to aware public about the negative impacts of environmental pollution. 9. It is mentioned in that books, journals and magazines relating to environmental pollution must be published for the awareness of common people about harmful impact of the environmental pollution. It is mentioned that magazines, journals should be published where negative impacts of air pollutions are mentioned. It means negative impacts of environmental pollutions must be published in journal, magazines and books, so that by reading all these things people will be aware about the negative impacts of environmental pollution. Finally, it is also mentioned in the Act that government clearance is necessary to establish any factory in some specific areas. It is mentioned in the Act that in some specific areas, if any factories will be established, government permission must be necessary, because there are some specific areas which are very sensitive, which may lead to environmental pollution. So in those specific areas, if any factory will be established, the permission of government must be necessary. So in this video I've discussed the meaning of Environmental Pollution Act 1986 and main provisions of this Act. I request my viewers to watch the whiteboard and take down your notes, or if you listen me attentively, also you can write down your notes. Thank you, students. Have a good day.